And so we thought today about the new sex education thing, and I've talked about this many times before. How it's really starting in this country, and it's going to be in 90% of the national schools in this country. So just to say it straight, again, I often said it. Sixth class, maybe a bit in fifth of sex education around it like that. But what they're saying here for junior infants, as soon as they walk in the door, really, they're going to teach them a bit. And more or less, what I'm gathering by this is that must be what they're going to do, which wouldn't surprise me in this country. But again, this is the thing. We want to keep our children, and this is the thing I've raised many times. We want to keep them as innocent as possible, as for as long as possible, because children are so, how do you put it? Years ago were protected kind of, and they kind of had lived a good life, and they wouldn't confused, because again it leads to confusion. Like you think of a kid like me with dyslexia or autism, for example, they'd be extremely confused if a teacher randomly came up and started speaking about these things in schools. They would be very confused. I'm sure if I was a child I would be very confused, because I can barely read and write and I can barely do maths. Let no one understand all this, say if I was in first class or third class or second class even. As again, what I was taught was in sixth class you were taught a bit. They've done a few hours. I think a few hours in sixth class. I think that I've total they've done 5 hours of it, in sixth class, which was enough. It was the B's and the E's, which you needed to know. And then when you go into secondary school, you can be taught a bit. But again, for post-primary schools, not post-primary schools, national schools in other words, I disagree profoundly with anything under sixth class or even fifth class at most. But anything like that, I disagree astoundingly. Teaching or even getting into their heads and just I suppose confusing them, and that's the thing, confusion, because again I don't think these people who wanted this thought about it, that children can get confused, they don't understand. And at an age, I know myself when I was younger, the only thing I wanted to do was play, and I didn't even have PlayStation. I didn't even know what a PlayStation was. I used to go to my granny's house, a person that used to take care of me. They had a PlayStation there. But again, I was kind of a backwards child. And again, I was very unsociable and everything like that. So, again, and the teacher came up and taught me that, you wouldn't be very confused. Again, it took me a long time to be confused from who I am and what I am and X, Y, and Z. Very long time to accept that I was dyslexic, and everything like that. So it took time. Again, it took time, and it took a long time. But again, I don't agree. I think fifth class, again, teaching them the B's and the E's, as somebody once said to me, it's important. It is important. I'm not going to lie to you. But again, as it says here, and I read, and I went from the Irish Independent today, that it says from senior, it's senior infants, or junior, sorry, is that the senior infants or junior infants, they said, to leave it to sixth class. So obviously, again, I would say, and I keep saying this, fifth to sixth. Anything under that, I don't think that's necessary. I think teaching them the basic of maths, teaching them English, how to write, how to spell, geography, a bit of history, again, teaching the basics of how things work. Because again, when I was in national school, they kind of taught me it's a lost cause, and I might be honest with you here, because I was that ignorant and that stupid, and I just was on communication, but which is hilarious, because I'm standing here now and I'm talking to about 50 people, or I'm talking to in some cases many thousands of people, but yeah, again, things change, life changes, but again, it's more important to teach them the basic stuff, maths, English and things on the fifth and sixth class. You can teach them a bit again, as I say, in fifth and sixth class, and I continuously stand by that. Whatever about secondary school, you're old enough at that time. I wouldn't say first year in secondary school. I say maybe second year, third year, leaving cert year. No, not leaving cert, junior cert year. Because the first year you're just settling in and everything, and it's very stressful settling into a new school, and you don't know really anybody. Take for example, it's hard even if you know people in secondary school, getting used to teachers, getting used to the environment. It's difficult. It's not easy, and I know myself, from living through it. So second year in secondary school, you could be taught a good bit more, right? I agree with that, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be taught anything, but again, the B's and the E's, I suppose, and the basic stuff in 5th class and 6th class. Again, what I'm afraid of here is that as soon as they get in the door, they'll be teaching them about, this is, fuck, God knows what they would teach them about. And forgive me for my language, but God knows what this state would teach them. I am fearful what they would teach them and how them children would turn out. And how confused they would be, really just how confused and everything it would be. Because I'm just thinking again, if I put myself into that position, I would be confused. So take care everybody and bye. And let me know what you think.